Hello everybody, it's your favorite sad weep here. Today I'm bringing you a full beginner build with Rhino, Vectis, Sonicor, Fragor, and Taxon. We won't be doing a veteran version of this build as we are keeping everything in this video acquirable at MR2. Any mods I use will be in the description down below. If you like the content, subscribe, hit that bell button so you get notified when I post my next video, and hit that like button to please the algorithm. Let's get right into it, starting with our Rhino build. We're going to get right into this Rhino build by starting with his abilities. Firstly, his passive. His passive, when you fall from super high up, will emit a little shockwave that knocks down enemies and does a little bit of damage. Next, his 1. Rhino Charge has you charge forward and CC enemies. It has an interesting mechanic where if you use it in succession, it will increase its damage up to 4 times. This is not the best ability in his kit, but his next one is his bread and butter. Iron Skin. This ability gives him Overguard that scales with his ability strength and armor. His next ability, which is his big damage buff, is Roar. Roar scales with duration, strength, and range. The strength determines how big of an increase the damage is, and the duration scales with how long the buff lasts. The radius is in regards to his range that allies get affected by the buff. And then his 4th ability, which is Rhino Stomp. This will cause Rhino to stomp the ground so hard that it knocks any nearby enemies into the air and freezes them in time. This is actually the lore accurate power. Pretty crazy. But enough about his abilities. Let's get straight into the mods we'll be using. For the aura mod slot, it can be whatever you want. I'm running Deadeye for a little bit of extra damage. Another good one to run would be Steel Charge for extra mod slot capacity if you need it. I was lucky enough that I did not. And firstly, we have Vitality for more health and Steel Fiber for more armor. We're going to follow that up with Intensify and then Armored Agility to help scale our 2 and our 3. I'm going to be running Rage. You can also swap this out for Hunter Adrenaline. Let me get off the mod slots real quick. Hunter Adrenaline, which you can get from running Cetus bounties. Either one works. I just went with Rage for the lower mod cost. Going to follow that up with Flow for more energy so we can cast our abilities more often. Continuity for the longer duration. And then the last mod slot is whatever you want. I'm running Ironclad Charge, which is his augment that you can get from your syndicates, or you can buy it from other players. It'll increase his armor for each enemy hit by 50% for 10 seconds. So the kind of loop you want to do with this is you want to use your 1 into a bunch of enemies, and then hit your 2 for the maximum amount of Overguard. But that's enough explaining builds and mods. Let's get into an actual demonstration. I'm going to spawn a bunch of enemies. They're unpaused, and I'm not invincible. I'm actually going to bump this down to 50 so they don't kill me too fast. Simulate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge, 130% extra armor, and then hit your 2. Now your 2 is interesting because it will also absorb damage as well as scaling with your armor and health. And as you can see, we got about 7,000 Overguard from that. And this makes you immune to statuses, it makes you immune to knockdowns. I think it makes you immune to a few other things. But it essentially works as like extra shield. It's super nice. If I just stand here and let them hit me, the AI will work. You can see like it's pretty tanky. Also, any damage resistances that you decide to put on your Warframe will transfer over to this Overguard. So yeah, you can get super tanky. You're basically invincible, especially with Hunter Adrenaline and Rage giving you energy. As long as you have energy to cast your 2, you're basically invincible. Like, nothing's gonna kill you. See, come on, show the rage. See, we get energy from rage, and then we can hit our 2. Boom. Basically invincible. Right, I'm gonna kill all these enemies. And we'll get right into our next build for our Vectis. Now that we have completed our Rhino build, we're going to be moving on to our first primary weapon, the Vectis. This is a single-shot bolt-action sniper rifle, and we'll be using this to take out heavier targets. Let's get right into the build. We're starting with Serration for the extra damage, and Split Chamber for the extra bullet. Vital Sense for extra crit damage. The next one can be swapped out for Point Strike, but we're going to be running Critical Delay because we have it. Mostly, the main benefit of this is the extra crit chance, and the negative fire rate doesn't affect this weapon since we only have 1 bullet in our magazine. Next, we're going to be running Fast Hands so we can reload and shoot faster, followed by High Voltage, Malignant Force, and Thermite rounds to make our Corrosive and Heat. You can exchange these for flat elemental damage. I just didn't want to format all this out. And I'm building this for the Grenier, which is why we're going Corrosive Heat. If you want to build this for Corpus, you're going to want to go Magnetic Heat. Now, let's get straight into the demonstration. We're going to be spawning in a Corpus battle group. Grenier battle group, my bad. They're going to be level 80, and we are going to do a demonstration with Rhino buff and without Rhino buff. Let's get right into it. So we're going to do our 1, we're going to do our 1, we're going to run back here, and we're going to hit our 2, and then we're going to hit our 3, and then we're going to pop. Now, the main purpose of the sniper rifle in this build is to take out tankier enemies. But we're just going to take out everybody here. Now, for a sniper rifle that you get at MR2, this is absolutely fantastic. Especially if you get some heat procs. If for some reason you don't instantly kill an enemy with a headshot, you can usually get lucky with the heat procs or the corrosive procs that'll lower their armor a little bit and make them a little bit more squishy. But that was our Rhino buff demonstration. Now let's get into the non-Rhino buff demonstration. As you can see, this still absolutely destroys and does a buttload of damage. If you go just flat elemental and you don't want to get any status procs, this will do even more damage. I'm an absolute whore for statuses, so I usually build all my builds of 60/60 mods. But yeah, this thing absolutely destroys. And is perfect for taking out those heavier units. Now, we're going to move on to the next build, which is going to be our secondary weapon, the Sonicor. The Sonicor is a great secondary weapon for clearing trash mobs. It shoots out a ball of energy that travels 15 meters before exploding in a 5-meter radius, knocking up enemies that it hits. If it comes in contact with terrain or an enemy before the 15-minute travel time, it will explode. Now, let's get right into the build. To keep this build low investment, I only formatted this weapon once. You can choose to format it more. Another interesting thing to know about this weapon is it actually is one of the few weapons in the game that has 0% status chance. But, weird mechanic, it guarantees procs impact, and sometimes you can proc other statuses from that purposeful proc. It's a little bit weird. I think there's some spaghetti code going on. But whatever weapons, whatever damage you build will transfer onto that guaranteed proc. Now, that guaranteed proc is not affected by status chance. So building 60/60 mods like I am here is not going to increase the chances of you proccing a status. Now, I'm running the 60/60 mod to save space. If you want more damage, you're going to want to build the flat damage elemental mods like Convulsion, Heated Charge, stuff like that. But enough mechanic talk. Let's get straight into the build. We're starting off with Deep Freeze on our built-in D polarity. Then for our Formed V polarity, we're doing Hornet Strike, getting a little bit of extra crit from Pistol Gambit and Target Cracker, ending it off with Heated Charge and Convulsion, and little creme de la creme Pistol Pestilence. Now, once you have all 4 of the flat damage mods on here, I'd end it off with the 60/60 mods. One of the 60/60 mods to really push that elemental damage to the roof. Now, right now we have it built for Blast and Corrosive. If you want to make this good against Corpus, you're going to want to switch Convulsion and Heated Charge around, and that'll give you Gas and Magnetic. But enough build talk, let's get straight into the demonstration. Now, just like with the Vectis, I'm going to demonstrate it once without Rhino buff, and then again with Rhino buff. Let's get right into it. So we're going to do R1, do R1, hit R2, get all our overguard, and then let's start killing things. So this is not a one-shotting weapon, but as you can see, we're making all the melee guys ragdoll around. And this will also stagger any heavies that are around your target too. So it'll make them stop shooting you for a second. And then once you get all the trash mobs cleared up, it's best to switch to your sniper rifle and then take out the heavies. Trash mobs with your secondary. Larger targets with your primary. Is that everyone? Nope, still back here. Little sneaker. Alright, but that was without Rhino buff. Let's get into the one with Rhino buff. Pop our buff. Yeah. The AoE is super nice for taking out all these melee guys. Just gets them off your back. Actually one-shotting a lot of them. And then for the heavier enemies, take out your sniper rifle and just pop their heads. Oops, I missed there. Is that everyone? Oh, there's someone hiding somewhere. Nope, that's everyone. Alright, but yeah, that is the Sonicor build. We're going to be moving on to our melee weapon, the Fragor. The Fragor is a nice, big, heavy hammer that comes with a unique 5-meter slam radius on its heavy slam. This hammer suits Rhino's playstyle perfectly and comes with an Orkin catalyst pre-installed if you get it from the junction from Earth to Mars. Now, let's get right into the build. Alright, we're going to be starting off with Crushing Ruin for our stance. If you don't have a stance, that's fine. Your animations will look a little different and you'll have a little less mod capacity. But leading into that, we're going to be doing Prime Pressure Point for the extra damage, Organ Shatter and True Steel for the extra crit chance and crit damage, Fury so our light attacks are faster, Reach so our light attacks hit more enemies, Violent Scourge Voltaic Strike for Corrosive so we strip some armor from our Grenier friends, and Volcanic Edge for the heat procs. Now, to get this working good for Corpus, you're going to want to swap out Violent Scourge with Vicious Frost so that you get magnetic heat. Now let's get straight into the demonstration. Just like all the other weapons, we're going to do one with Rhino buff and then another one without Rhino buff. We're going to spawn in a Grenier squad. One. Not enough energy. 2. And then 3. And with this, we're going to do light attacks to get our combo count up. That combo count, once you hit 2x, 3x, that's going to be the multiplier on your damage. And then with this weapon, you're going to want to hop up into the air and then slam down. Oh yeah. And then just rinse and repeat until everything is dead and you're a happy Rhino. Where's this last guy? One. Alright, that was without Rhino buff. Let's get into it with Rhino buff. Oh, I didn't spawn a full squad. There we go, that's a full squad. And now with Rhino buff. And bonk. 75,000 damage. Hit her 2 so we don't die. Yeah, this thing is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful hammer. Big slams, big damage. Lots of CC. Beautiful. And now, with that demonstration done, we're going to get straight into our Taxon companion build. Doing builds for companions and their weapons is a little different, so I'll be doing them in pairs. The Taxon is a very basic companion that can slot on robotic and companion mods. I will be building him for status priming and to give us a little bit of utility like CC and to increase energy drops. Let's get right into the build. Now, before we look into the build, I want to explain something that's a little different about companion modding than all the other modding in Warframe. And that is, these ability mods actually do matter in which order you put them in. So in modding, the companion will select its abilities based on which order you put it in. If this slot is 1, this one's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it'll always pick this first slot to use first. So if I were to put retarget up here, it actually would not use any of its other abilities because it will be constantly attacking enemies. But that is enough about mechanics. Let's get into the actual build. The first mod we got is vacuum, which will vacuum up items to your Warframe. So this is like mods, energy orbs, health orbs, pretty much anything. Next we got duplex bond, which every time we spend 100 energy, which if you are playing Rhino right, that should be very often, it will spawn a clone of your Taxon that'll live for 30 seconds, and if it kills something, that thing has a 50% chance of dropping energy orbs. We're going to follow that with Animal Instinct for a little bit of root radar and enemy radar, which is what marks items and enemies on your minimap. This is also really good for finding secret caches in those spy missions, extermination missions that they spawn in, because these will show up as loot on that radar. Next, we're going to go into Momentous Bond, which will, when we kill an Maximus unit, it will grant 120% bonus of a random element to your companion weapon for 30 seconds. And if your companion is down, it will decrease the recovery timer by 18 seconds every time you kill an Maximus, which is prime. Also, if you don't have these bond mods, they are not super duper important. They're just a little bit extra on top of everything else it's doing for you. Next is Guardian, which will refill our shields whenever they run out, which is super nice. I think it has a cooldown of 30 seconds, though. It doesn't say that on the mod. So this is another kind of like save me trump card that you can use. Very helpful, very nice. Next we got Meta Ray, which will it will occasionally heal you for 12% health, which is really, really good, especially if you lose your shield and your overguard. That way you can get your energy back from rage and not have to worry about losing all your health to do it. Next, for its defenses, we're going with calculated redirection for extra shields and accelerated deflection to make sure those shields stay up more often. And for the last two abilities, we got Coolant Leak, which is a 10-meter radial blast of cold. This will slow all the enemies down around you, which is super, super nice because this also affects their fire rate, which means they are doing less damage to you as well. And last but not least is Retarget, which is the Taxon's version of Attack Enemy. Now, for the weapon build, we got the R-Tax, and this is an interesting companion weapon because it has a unique trait where it has 20% cold damage that's independent from any other elemental types, which means you can mix a element that involves cold and still get cold status procs on top of that cold element. But enough about that. We're going to get straight into the build, starting with Split Chamber for extra multi-shot, and since this is a beam weapon, this transfers just to extra status and extra damage, which is super nice. Then we're going to do all of our 60/60 mods, which is high voltage thermite rounds for radiation. The radiation procs will cause a little bit more CC and cause enemies to be confused and attack each other. Our next 60/60 combo is Rhyme Rounds Malignant Force for viral. This will give us extra damage on health. We're going to follow that up with Vigilante Armaments for more multi-shot, which gives us more damage and more status. Continuous Misery for double status duration, so all of our statuses last longer. And then Fast Hands for reload speed, so that our Taxon is shooting this more often. And that is enough about that. We're going to get straight into the demonstration. Now, to do this demonstration, I'm going to purposely lose my shield so you can actually see the shield recharge happen. And then I'm also going to just cast my abilities as much as I can so you can see those clones come in. We're also going to take off these two heavy gunners and do some heavy gunner Eximus units so you can see that. Wait, that's not an Eximus. That's an Eximus. Alright, let's get straight into it. I'm going to let these enemies damage me. And then if you watch my shield up top, you'll see it just instantly recharge. And then I'm going to let them do a little bit more damage to me. And then I'm going to hit my one. Hit my one. Hit my one. Pop my 2, pop my 3, which will also apply to my Taxon, and then we're just going to spam our 4 so that we spawn more little clones. Each time you cast your 4, it will spawn a clone, because it's exactly 100 energy to do. But as you can see, these little guys are doing lots of status priming. This guy's already on max stacks for everything. So what you kind of want to do is you want to let the Eximus prime things, not the Eximus, the companion prime things, and then you finish things off by just doing the extra damage. Which the viral will transfer a lot of damage. As you can see, 143,000 damage to your sniper rifle, 497,000 damage. Now, status prime is also good when you eventually get a mod called Condition Overload. And what Condition Overload does is it gives you 80% extra melee damage per status type affecting a target. So what this looks like is it's going to make our Fragor do a buttload of damage when we are inflicting statuses with our Taxon. Need more energy. Now this enemy has a shit ton of statuses. All these enemies have shit tons of statuses, and we're just doing so much more damage. Now, once you get super late in the game, we're talking you beat all the nodes on the star chart, you unlock something called arbitrations, and you can get something called galvanized mods. And these galvanized mods, like galvanized shot, do the same thing that condition overload does. So I'm actually going to put one of these mods on my Vectis, I think, just to demonstrate. I'm going to take off fast hands, just to demonstrate how much extra damage this will make weapons do. Gotta simulate this again. 1, 2, and oh, I don't see it. Oh, 80,000 damage. Yeah. So status priming with your companions is very important the later you get in the game. In the early game, the viral's gonna be carrying you a lot, so you won't need this condition overload buff on all your weapons. But once you get to that point, it'll absolutely boost your damage so high up. It's insane. But that is everything for this build. We're going to take this into a Uranus level 50 mission. I got to take off the galvanized mods first. But we'll take it into a level 50 mission so you guys can see in the outro the gameplay in an actual mission. Put some lo-fi music over the top of it. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you are notified when I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye!
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you